Hi friends, welcome back to 3 Barrow Farm and to my little kitchen here. And as you can see in front of me, I have a zillion zucchinis. I am picking about 4 zucchinis a day at the moment, which is insane. And ideally we want to be picking them at this size, like the size that you see in the shops. So these sorts of sizes are ideal. But sometimes they are hiding and they get away from us and get ginormous like this. And usually they will start to yellow off a bit as well, although this side of the zucchini must have been facing the ground. So I've got quite a few that are larger, but I'm picking them mostly at this size now, which is handy. And then we have ones like this, which I believe occurs because of water. So perhaps it's had a lot of water at one stage, but then not enough to continue growing. I'm not sure, but I have had a few of these at periods of time where we didn't water as often as we were when everything else was growing. So when all of these were growing. This one here is pretty much the supreme, most perfect zucchini I have ever seen. Most of these zucchinis, I think, are from the blackjack variety, which I purchased a punnet and my husband purchased a punnet of when I'd planted the zucchini out and the chickens absolutely demolished them. So I raised some myself and planted them out. The chickens demolished them. We thought they'd demolished them, or at least they'd eaten quite a few of the leaves. And then I went out and bought a punnet to replace them. My husband didn't know. He went out and bought a punnet to replace them. I planted all of them. So I have like 12 plants outside. And the ones that the chickens got survived as well. So there are a lot of plants out there. And hence we are getting a lot of zucchinis. Some of them are a bit different. But yeah, we're getting a lot of zucchinis right now. And so I wanted to share with you how I've been using my zucchinis, all the different recipes that I have found, and I will link all the recipes below where I can. A lot of them are Thermomix recipes. As you know, I have 2 Thermomix machines in my kitchen, and I'm heavily relying on the Thermomix at the moment to assist me in preserving and cooking at the moment. It is a godsend. I'm so glad that I have that machine there, or both of them there, sitting there for me to use. But I've found some recipes that are close to the Thermomix ones, and I'm linking them down below so that you can make them as well if you don't have a Thermomix. So let's go off to VoiceOver Amy and see what I've been making with all of these zucchinis that I've been harvesting over the past month or so. Let's start with the savoury dishes first. One thing I've been making a lot recently are pasta and rice sauces with the zucchini and other vegetables coming from my garden. I've been freezing the meals, which I will then pull out of the freezer on days I don't have time to cook. You could always pressure can these sauces as well and free up your freezer space. We've also been eating a few of these meals of late because pasta and rice dishes are always easy to throw together while we're in the busy period of preserving the autumn harvest. Another dish we've been making a lot, and particularly for breakfasts while we're in the Zucchini Glut, is fried zucchini with eggs. We've also just started adding tomatoes to the frying pan as we're bringing in a lot of tomatoes now too. One dish I've enjoyed making quite a few times this summer in the Thermomix is Zucchini Risotto. I've also made it on the stove with chunkier pieces of zucchini. When it's made in the Thermomix, the zucchini is almost vitamized, and the liquid from the zucchini feeds the rice while it's cooking as well as the water. I topped it with basil and feta cheese. I've been making some soups with zucchini and freezing them as well. The first soup I tried is a zucchini and capsicum soup. It paired really well with the cherry tomato focaccias I love making every summer. The second soup I made was just a plain zucchini soup with stock, onions, herbs, and cream cheese. Next up are the zucchini quiches that I've made. These are relatively easy to make, especially if you choose to buy your pastry. I choose to make mine, and I've experimented with a few different gluten-free flour mixes here. The zucchini quiches freeze well too. When I make mine, I do 2 at a time, and we eat one of them and I freeze the other one for another night, another week. To freeze it, I cut it into slices and put them in containers. Zucchini Slice. This is such a popular dish for using zucchinis. I've added some slices of tomatoes on top of this one. According to the internet, you can store Zucchini Slice in a plastic container or plastic bag in the freezer for up to 3 months. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm interested to know if any of you have ever frozen Zucchini Slice and how it's gone when you've reheated it. Fritters are another easy and common food to make with zucchinis. My youngest loves making them, especially after getting her braces. They're really easy to eat and pair well with salads, roast vegetables, or your favorite barbecued meats. They are also a fantastic snack. Speaking of snacks, here's another savoury recipe I've tried that's perfect for snacks or as a side to other dishes in a meal. It's zucchini and Parmesan muffins. These have been a great hit in my household this summer. I've frozen them and the kids have just pulled them out one by one when they've needed a snack or an alternative to breakfast. One last savoury dish I have tried for the first time this year is carrot and zucchini bread. It's a Thermomix recipe that I made from our homegrown carrots and zucchinis. I've tried to find a similar recipe online, which I have linked below. This was an interesting recipe to experiment with using gluten-free flours. I feel like it might need some work, and perhaps next time I'll try it with some spelt flour instead. Now on to sweet dishes I made with our Zucchini Glut. This first one was delicious. It's a banana and zucchini bread, and it is a Thermomix recipe and has medjool dates in it. I believe it is the dates that makes this one so scrumptious. I highly recommend having a go at adding some dates into your zucchini cakes and breads. I froze some of these breads sliced, and so I was able to take them away with us camping. It's really handy to have some pre-cut breads and cakes to take away on holidays and camping for snacks. Really, really handy. The next recipe is a new one to me, zucchini and dried fruit scones. In my first baking session, I made a dozen of these and they disappeared very quickly. They are basically like any other fruit scone you've made, but you just throw in some zucchini as well. I highly recommend making some of these. They may even freeze well too, but I haven't frozen scones before, so let me know if you have in the comments below. I love making muffins to put in the freezer. Sometimes I'll make cake and bread recipes and put them into muffin trays instead of doing a cake or a bread. But this one is a muffin recipe, which includes both our homegrown carrots and zucchinis. They worked out really well and they froze well too. Zucchini chocolate cake has to be one of the most popular sweet ways of using zucchinis. The cakes turn out so moist and beautiful because of the added zucchini in them. It's the same with chocolate beetroot cakes, which I love making as well because the beetroot gives a beautiful, rich, red-brown colour. When I've made these zucchini chocolate cakes in the past, I've never added the chocolate chips that the recipe calls for, but my eldest cooked these 2 cakes before I made the other 2, and she followed the recipe and added them in, and they tasted so delicious with the dark chocolate chips in them that I will be adding them in the future. The final recipe I tried for the first time this summer is Zucchini Sorbet. It's a Thermomix recipe, but you could do it in a food processor. You basically chop up and freeze the zucchini overnight, and then you add lemon zest and sugar into a blender to whiz up, and then you add in the frozen zucchini and the lemon pulp. My zucchini had melted a bit before I made it, so I put the sorbet into a container in the freezer to harden it. The texture is different, but definitely worth trying. I think if my zucchini was frozen, it would have come out much smoother than it did. Well, friends, I hope you found that really handy to see all the different things that I have been making with zucchinis and with other produce that I have been harvesting from the garden. But it's quite interesting once you start looking. There are a lot of different recipes out there to use up the zucchini harvest. I'm very excited to have this amount of zucchinis because I can replenish my stock of pickled zucchini, which I really love and I made quite a few years ago and have only just started to finish all of the jars of the pickles. So I highly recommend making those. They do last a long time as well in the jars if you preserve them properly. And it's been interesting to try some new things as well and add some more recipes to my collection for using up the Zucchini Glut. Thank you so much for watching, friends, and I will see you again in my next video.